So for producers, we said the benefits were price received minus minimum willingness to sell. Then we did an example where we calculated Dave's consumer surplus from Samsung Note. Now let's draw a market and see how, I'll show you guys how you calculate CS and PS from markets. Supply is equal to marginal cost curve or minimum willingness to sell curve. Minimum willingness to sell or marginal cost curve. Demand is equal to your maximum willingness to pay or marginal benefits. This is what supply and demand are made up of. So supply is made up of minimum willingness to sell amounts, and demand is made up of maximum willingness to pay amounts.
Does that say marginal cost curve?
Marginal cost curve.
Oh, curve, sorry.
Curve, yeah. Supply is your marginal cost curve, and demand is your marginal benefits curve. This is again your quantity, your price. So demand, this line is demand. So the point on the demand curve is your maximum willingness to pay. Remember that. And this is supply curve. So this point here is your minimum willingness to sell point. So consumer surplus and producer surplus, what are these? For quantity Q1.
That's maximum.
So if I was to ask you, calculate consumer surplus and producer surplus, what are you going to do? So what's the formula for consumer surplus?
That's for minimum willingness.
So for consumer surplus, it's maximum willingness to pay minus price actually paid. For producer surplus, it's minimum willingness to sell minus, it is price minus minimum willingness to sell. For producer surplus, it is price minus minimum willingness to sell. So the equilibrium price is $10. Equilibrium price is the price the transaction was made on. So wherever the supply and demand curve are meeting, that's the market price. This is your market price. This is what the market decided this product is worth, based on consumer surplus, producer surplus. This is the market price.
So what's that section on the left?
What section on the left?
Like how you connect the $15 one to the $7 one? What is that?
Okay, yeah, I'll tell you. Okay, so for the maximum willingness to pay for a buyer was $15 for this product. Let's say it's an iPhone, all right? The minimum willingness to sell for this product was $7. They agreed on a middle price, $10, which is your equilibrium price. So market will always have, a price that they both agree on.
So that's the market surplus.
That is the market price.
Okay.
It's not the surplus. This is the market price. This was the seller's minimum willingness to sell. He was not gonna sell below $7. Like this was the minimum he could go. This is the maximum he could pay. The market decided that $10 was a just price for this product.
I got you.
So this is your $10 is your actual price paid.
Okay.
So calculate the CS. So the maximum willingness to pay is how much? $15. The price actually paid is $10. So what is this consumer surplus? $5, right? Consumer surplus is equal to $5. For producer surplus, price actually received is equal to what? $10. For producer, the minimum willingness to sell was what? $7. So what's the producer surplus? $3. So basically what this saying is that with this market transaction happening, they're both better off. The buyer is better off by $5 because his maximum willingness to pay was $15 and he actually paid $10. So he's better off $5. And the producer is better off by $3 because he was willing to sell for $7, but he actually sold for $10. So he's better off $3. So with this market transaction, they're both better off. There is a market surplus. So market surplus for combined, so that you're going to add CS and PS. So the market surplus with this transaction, which is the total surplus, is $8.
So that doesn't show on the graph then?
They what?
The market surplus doesn't show on the graph? Like in the sheet?
No, I'll show you. So consumer surplus is everything below the demand curve and above the equilibrium price paid. So at the actual price paid and below the demand curve is your consumer surplus. Producer surplus is above the supply curve but below the equilibrium price received. So this is producer surplus. Making sense? So it's not this whole area, okay? It's just this box and this box. This area is something else. We'll talk about it. What?
Minus surplus.
Huh? We'll talk about it. But you understand that producer surplus starts from the equilibrium price downward and above the supply curve. And consumer surplus starts equilibrium price upward and below the demand curve, like this area. Okay, so next. Erase this. point that maximizes surplus is the competitive market equilibrium. Market equilibrium. By competitive market equilibrium, it means that market actually competed for that $10 price. Marginal benefits received is told by demand curve marginal cost is told by supply curve. The point where supply equals the demand, or the point where quantity supply equals quantity demand is the maximum competitive market equilibrium. It's the competitive market equilibrium. We're saying that the market decided the price itself. We did not intervene, and nobody should intervene, and markets usually decide the price of the product. Because we know what consumers are willing to pay, we know what producers are willing to sell it for, and there's always gonna be a natural competitive price of the product. Any deviation from the competitive market equilibrium price will result in less surplus.
Market, no? Competitive market equilibrium.
Yeah, competitive market equilibrium, yeah. I wrote it twice. So any deviation from the competitive market equilibrium price will result in less surplus or dead weight loss.
Question,
Yeah.
is that just like less surplus in general, or is that like a specific type of surplus?
Dead weight loss is a loss in the market because it's like a surplus you could have made, but you didn't because your price was not right. And we'll talk more about it.
So it's just like any kind of surplus?
It's dead weight loss is a loss. It's not
Oh no, I said surplus, not loss.
what
The words before that
any
loss.
deviation from the competitive market price will result in
Less surplus.
less
That thing.
surplus or a loss.
Okay.
It's the same thing. Less surplus or dead weight loss is the same thing. Okay, let's do and price increases. We know that quantity supply increases, right? When price increases, we know that supply will increase, producers would wanna sell more to make more money. So if the price was $20 for a product, there is one person willing to sell. When price was $50 for the same product, price increased, it's $50, now there are 2 people willing to sell. It's like that. It creates competition. Market naturally creates competition. If there is a profit somewhere to make, people go that route. They go the way where profit is, to make profit. So it naturally creates competition. Before, the product was for $20 and only one person was selling it. Now the product's price increased and 2 people are selling it. When price goes down, we know that quantity demand increases, right? When price goes down, we know more people want to buy stuff because it's cheaper. So before, for $400, one person was willing to buy. Now the product is for $100 and 12 people are willing to buy. These type of things create competition. There's only so much that can be sold. If the price is $100, and if it's only 10 product available, only 10 people can buy it. And maybe 20 people are waiting to buy the product. So